Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Peace, love, and positivity to you. My name is Sohum, and today I'll be giving a first-time reaction to the 60s British rock/folk rock group titled Strawbs. I've never heard of Strawbs before getting this request, but today we're going to be checking out the song Hero and Heroine. And for this track, we're also going to be doing a bit of a lyrical deep dive as well to come away with some better understanding. But you guys know me, I love to discover new music, so I'm super excited to jump into this one today. But before we do, a massive thank you goes to Perry for making this reaction request and for bringing a new artist to the channel. Now, my friends, let's jump into it. Oh wow. Oh wow. The rhythm there. It's like punches. What?
Hero's face was golden and his sail was set in search of
What?
land. His life out solely by him and was guided by the tide. Heroine.
How do we, dude? We went from like a section of like grandiose combo punching into like the most folksy acoustic section ever. I gotta hear that again. Oh, dude, the rhythm is challenging here. Dude, hold on. I feel like, okay, the hard part about that section, even though it sounds really good, is the rhythm of those punches, like when they occur, and also which punch is more or less accented, and also the pitches that they're traversing. It's almost like a sort of zigzagging pattern that's happening up and down, but add these distinct intervals with the punches being harder or softer at any given moment. That is a lot of complexity just in those 18 seconds. Yeah. Something like that. Dude, I love how that sounds.
Hero's face was golden and his sail was set in search of land. His life out solely by him and was guided by the tide. Heroine was fleecy white, she beckoned like some savior bright. Shipwrecked sailors in the night were bid welcome to her side.
What a vibe.
Where one man's search must surely cease the year.
In 40 seconds, we've had, I guess, how would we compartmentalize it? 20 seconds of the punches, then like 10 seconds of the acoustic flooding of notes our way, and then into that like super groovy melodic electric section. It seems like we're going back to the acoustic. There's so much going on in this already. I almost want to say that this is more like prog rock than anything.
Where one man's search must surely cease, the irresistible white fleece-led hero in search of the peace which she alone could offer. Thus he knelt before.
Is the irresistible white fleece, does that have to do with the Greek myth story about the golden fleece? God, it's been a while since I've studied up on my Greek mythology.
Offer. Thus he knelt before her feet, wary lest their eyes should meet. He knew his life was incomplete, for he had yet to suffer.
The hero must suffer to go on the journey, right? Dude, that is so satisfying. Syncopated feel. cathedral we are. And I am Yoda. We got we got a live one on our hands, folks. I feel like just in 2 minutes we have experienced like 6 or 7 distinct sections, which I truly believe only really happens in prog music. When there's this much all at once, I am reminded of like your Electric Light Orchestras, your King's X's, your Queens. I was thinking of Tenacious D, but more so for the vocal delivery in the verses. I'm also very loosely thinking of Rainbow. The only reason why they occur to me is because sometimes they can create these very grandiose moments, and it feels like each one of those like chord punches in that the combo punch section. That feels very like if you were to cut out the different chords you hear in a Rainbow live performance, that's a version of what I'm hearing with the Strawbs in that part. This is a fun listen. It's definitely throwing me for a loop. I was not expecting this. Restart. Wow. Oh, more now. I think I hear a like angelic choir. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Hero and Heroine by Strawbs. A very rich track in terms of the dynamics between sections. Like, I had no idea we were going to Cathedral Land for the moment that we were, and by the time we exited, I wish we had never left. And I feel like I could say that for almost every single section of this song, because they are all individually so fun to listen to, but they are individually all rather short-lived unless they're repeated. And that is a kind of interesting takeaway that I'm having from this one, is like this song, 3.5 minutes long, feels like it was cut out of a 15-minute prog epic, but it's only 3.5 minutes. It's very bite-sized, which to me may signal that there's far more to the album than just the song itself could kind of showcase on its own. Oftentimes when it comes to like prog epics, it doesn't have to just be one song necessarily. It'll be that song threaded together in the album with like 3 or 4 other tracks, and together that compendium creates the journey. So I feel like we did experience a very, fast flash journey in this one with Hero and Heroine. I wonder if it was a little bit too fast. But that said, each of the individual sections were so fun to listen to, and kind of noting where they transitioned and how they decided to do it. I feel like a lot of those moments, if it wasn't just the jarring punch from the combo punch section. We had those transitions with the, I believe it was the acoustic folk part and the kind of angelic choir later on, and the electric guitar too. I feel like we had three and maybe another fourth moment of just pure transition, which was really cool. That was a fun song. I want to jump into the lyrical part now. So we start with Hero's face was gaunt and tanned. His sail was set in search of land. His life raft solely by him manned, was guided by the tide. So he's on a journey. If he's the hero, presumably it's the hero's journey. And, I've heard that if you're set to sea for a long time, you tan very easily and your skin becomes a bit rougher. And if you happen to not be sheltered at all, you could have boils and you could start there's terrible things that can happen to you if you're lost at sea. But he's in the boat. He's doing okay. Or I guess a life raft. Oh, so he is actually in the dangerous position. It doesn't have a full-on sailor's boat. So heroine wore fleecy white. She beckoned like some savior bright. Shipwrecked sailors in the night were bid welcome to her side, almost positioning her as a bit of a siren. And as you know, sirens, with their beautiful voice, their beautiful appearance, they lure sailors into their demise. But if it's the heroine, maybe it's the hero saving the damsel in distress. Where one man's search must surely cease, the irresistible white fleece led hero in search of the peace that she alone could offer. So the moment that he laid eyes on her, knew of her existence, he knew that she was the one, and searching for anyone else would just be fruitless, because when you know that there's, what would be the example? When you know that there's cookies and cream, do you ever go back to plain vanilla? That kind of thing. And so he sees that she is a source of peace. And I think in this life, for all of us, peace is one of the things that we are either consciously or subconsciously searching for. This life is difficult. It throws so many haymakers and curveballs our way. I don't know. The thing that I pine for more than anything is just quiet, tranquility, calm from the storm, because the mind is always brewing. The world is always hurling things your way. Can we just soften and slow things down? And if a partner is our source of peace, well, naturally, I'm going to want to spend as much time with them. And, if I don't have them, I want to seek that person out. It's my belief that we can find that innate peace within ourselves too. And we ought to do that for any partner that we find, in our future. So it's a version of they are the source of peace, but you yourself are also a source of peace. And if you're, getting that from her, well, you're also offering it to her in kind. Thus he knelt before her feet, wary lest their eyes should meet. He knew his life was incomplete, for he had yet to suffer. Yeah, and this is almost like a bit of a, you call it like a pivot point in the song, where the focus is now shifted from his wishes to what he must do to get what he wishes. And we all must suffer in our life. It almost feels impossible to get exactly what it is you want unless you suffer to get it. And oftentimes the things that we think we want, when we get, we didn't actually need. You can almost think about that and apply it to our consumer purchase habits. But if you ever see an item in an Amazon store or, in a retail shop, and you say, well, I have to have this, something about this product is inducing this urgency, and then you want to go buy it immediately, but then in 2 days you don't even think about it, you don't look at it. That told you that you were being led by your impulses rather than by what values are actually important to you. So a way to kind of avoid that in that specific circumstance is to view the product and say, hey, I'm going to write this down, and if in 30 days I still want it, then I will get it. and that can save us a lot of time making these suboptimal choices. I honestly don't know why I started talking about that. Oh, the suffering bit. Yeah, so he has to go through it to then know that this thing is actually valuable for him. Enticing heroine Sohum took Hero firmly by the arm, told him that she meant no harm, that she alone could save him. So she has that very peaceful, grounding energy, calmly, but also with a firm grasp, has him. She doesn't want to let go of him, is to me what that implies, but also indirectly convincing him to stay with her. And, if she is a siren, she's doing a damn good job. Hero could no longer speak. While realizing he was weak, his life increasingly grew bleak. For all the love she gave to him, while storm clouds gathered high above, the heroine he grew to love turned slowly to a snow-white dove. Wow, because it's like the version of what made her beautiful that he was being drawn into is still not the version that she actually is. It's almost like her beauty, her innate purity, transcends his own belief about how pure she is. And so he's just there, like, experiencing her grace, and he's not understanding all of it. He's not getting why is she this alluring to me? He's kind of drawn in a bit by the surface level, and she's a touch beyond that. And, for people like that we find in our lives, a way to describe their presence is of magnetism. They simply exist. They sometimes call for us, or they just appear around us, and we are drawn into them. We want to know how they're doing. We want to, spend time with them, ask them the questions. And there's just something about them that brings us there. And I can, I've articulated a bit as to why that occurs, but for people who are like that, or at least for people who you are drawn to who are like that, I don't know, it's a very unique class, I think, of human. Just like a random example that comes to my mind is the artist Prince. A lot of his fans, anybody who's really met him, have always spoken about the presence that man has on their feeling, and no matter what he does, they're just drawn into his orbit. It's a version of what I feel like is happening here, but with more purity and more, let's say, peace at the forefront rather than just presence and divinity itself. Hopefully part of that made sense. And then, so the heroine he grew to love turned slowly to a snow-white dove and spread her wings to fly. Crushed and broken in the end, Hero watched his soul ascend, knowing that he was condemned to sail all alone to die. And in the end here, his soul is referring to her, the dove. She flies away freely. Now, granted, she imparted so much on the sailor that for the rest of his life, he will now be thinking about just how grateful he was to have that little time with her. And she'll always be remembered in his mind because she didn't do anything wrong. She just existed as this pure being. And I do feel like in this world, there's some version of karma that must exist, because when you, in your heart of hearts, know you've wronged somebody, your mind brings you back to that person that you've wronged, and you think about them and you feel guilty about it. And I don't know, I feel like the sailor, he is now in the position where he has gone through his journey to find her. He has not quite yet suffered enough to actually have her. And the point is, he doesn't need to have her. He shouldn't have to have her. The fact that he needs her and has to continually sail for her means that he is on the wrong search. And ultimately with heroes, and a lot of the ways that they're narratively depicted, is that they always have one fatal flaw about them that humanizes them and makes them beatable by the villain. And so they have to learn how to overcome that flaw in order to then, achieve what they would like to in this world and go through that suffering. the Achilles myth. He was only as strong as his heel. There's so many different ways you can look at just character flaws in general as it relates to the self, but oftentimes when you identify those flaws, if we're able to rectify them and grow through that, anything that we wanted on the other end of what was the flaw was holding us back from is now within our reach. It's a version of you learned a new skill and now you can never unlearn that skill. You will always have it for the future, and going forward I will always be able to build shoe racks from Wayfair. Yeah, that was a that was a fun 3-hour evening. But anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. This was a really fun reaction for me. I would definitely be interested in listening to more Strawbs. So if you are interested in making a Strawbs reaction request, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description box below, or by scanning this QR code on the screen. But thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.